A true story, sort of. The Persian version was written and directed by Mariam Keshavarz, who's done Circumstance, Viper Club, as well as other projects. Check out her IMDb page for the full list of her work. And if you're thinking to yourself, hey, self, I don't think I've seen a trailer for the Persian version. I remember seeing a trailer for something called the Persian version. Hey, self, I haven't even heard of the Persian version. I could go to IMDb, but wait a second, I'm on YouTube and self. This guy, whoever he is, wherever he's from, he's reviewing the Persian version. So hopefully, in the very beginning, maybe within the opening minute, he gives the barest minimum of plot details so I can drive to my local cinema, dive headfirst into the theater with the popcorn and the drink, and hopefully not spill them, maybe with the nachos and the hot dog. Why do they serve those at theaters? I don't goddamn know. Maybe with drinks and snacks that I sneaked in, and I can be seated to see what the Persian version is all about with just the barest idea going in. And so for you, random self that I apparently just decided to make up in my head, here you go. Barest minimum of the plot details. Basically, an Iranian American family with two parents, which is usually how a family starts. I know that's a bit shocking. Whether it's same gender or not, the two parents is usually how a family will start. Nevertheless, they immigrate from Iran to America to build a better life for themselves and their children. And they do, and there's a lot of children. There's Leila, who basically is living life her way and doing what she wants any old time. But then, after a fun time at a party, soon after, there is a curveball, a life-altering event thrown her way where she realizes, holy shit, I have to change, I have to do things because this is going to change my life forever. And then she has to reflect on past relationships, how she's handled, time with her family, especially her mother. And we get a lot of reflection, we get some flashbacks, we get stuff like that, and we get a beautifully told story of how this family came to be. So there is basic plot details right there. So if you've seen the trailer, then you would have seen something that seemed like it was very comedic and lighthearted, as far as how Leila ends up sleeping with somebody, ends up pregnant sometime later, and then has to come to grips with that, and also through talking to members of her family, particularly her grandma, finds out about, why sometimes the relationship is fractured with her mother. And we get flashbacks from 60s Iran all the way to 2000s US and everything in between. And that is basically your story right there. It almost seems like it's very vastly comedic and all lighthearted and everything. It's all nutty and crazy, and don't get me wrong, there are nutty, crazy moments in here, and the movie, does have some stuff that really did make me laugh out loud, and it actually was marketed in a way that will get people to flock to the theaters. Was it mismarketed? Possibly, but I will also say that this movie has great emotional depth, and clearly was a labor of love for Mariam Keshavarz. I really hope I pronounced that name correctly. If I didn't, I do apologize. There's a lot of great emotional depth here and very heart-wrenching stuff and proof that you don't know what people have struggled with, including members of your own family. And the Iranian influence is all over, and I'm not knocking it. It's great. It's great. The culture, the fact that some people struggle in Iran and struggle still as immigrants in the U.S., even after they built up their life for so many years. There are many things touched on, stuff like that. Obviously, a lot of life experiences, whether Mary has seen them, just seen them happen, or stuff that has happened in her own life. A lot of stuff has been poured into this, and it's a goddamn good movie. I encourage you guys to check this out. This is really, really fucking good. It got me a few times. It got me emotional a few times. Like, it really, really did. I did not expect that. I will say that there is one thing about this movie that I wasn't sure at first. It actually did get me into it, and this is, I guess a mild spoiler, but you can kind of get it from the trailer also. There's some fourth wall breaks where literally they talk to the audience. I wasn't sure how to take that at first. It ends up weaving in just fine to the story, and sometimes the way it bounces back and forth in between time periods, even though they show graphics, can get a little bit confusing. It's kind of like how they did it with Polite Society, which was a really goddamn good movie that you need to check out. I believe it's currently on Amazon Prime as of this recording, or whatever streaming service has it. Please check out Polite Society. That was a great story as well. A lot more comedic than this, even though it did have some serious subject matter. This has a more serious tone, And boy, when it hits, it really hits. There is a lot of great story building, a lot of stuff where I'm like, ooh, ooh, ooh. No wonder this character acts this way. No wonder this character didn't understand why this character acts a certain way. And no wonder this character over here that acts this way doesn't understand why that character maybe doesn't understand. Because not allowing the sadness to get to you can affect those around you. Yes, not embracing it is one thing, but you don't want to hurt your family. And that's a big thing about it. The big thing about this movie is family. And I haven't even talked about the cast yet. And I apologize if I butcher any of these names, but Leila, Leila, is actually Leila, Layla. Yes, like the Eric Clapton song. Leila Mohammadi, who is great. Great. I need to see more stuff that she's in. You got Shireen, who plays the mother. She's Neusha Noor, who's great. She's great as well. Mamna June, that's a grandmother. Bella Warda, who has been in other stuff before. I know I've seen her in stuff I can't recall right now, but I know she's been good in other stuff as well. The girls who play young Leila and young Shireen are terrific as well. Magnificent performances right there. There's Maximilian, who is played by Tom Byrne. He's great as well. And the dad, Al Reza Bijan, I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce the man's last name. He's good even if he's in a supporting role, and there's various brothers and stuff like that, and Leila is the only daughter. And then the flashbacks are beautifully told, and actually there were some tonal shifts that really, really surprised me, but then it all made sense. It all was wrapped up beautifully. Even if there were points where I'm like, okay, I was like, ooh, boy, that's a little bit much. But the way it told its story was so magnificently well done that I really can't think of too many, things to nitpick with this. Stylistically, the movie looks phenomenal. It's so well, shot. Great cinematography. Great camera work. There is a musical number at one point with a song that I did not actually anticipate would get that variation, but it turned out to be very, very well done. And it's great shit. It's great shit. I encourage you guys to check this out. The Persian version is absolutely phenomenal. Great performances. I look forward to seeing what else the writer-director can do. I may need to check out more of her previous projects. I hope that more people see the Persian version. I hope that it gets a lot of attention. I don't know if in November, this movie's going to do all that well. I hope it does well on streaming. But it is a magnificently, beautifully told story that tugged at my heartstrings. It really did. I didn't expect it would. And the comedic moments broke it up. But, ooh, God, when it got emotional, it got really goddamn good. It's in theaters right now. I'm going to get into spoilers. So 3, 2, 1, spoilers. Okay, the reason it says the true story, sort of, is you can tell that this had, like I said, a lot of experiences as a director, either heard about or saw and put into this story. And it was great. It was great. It was very well done. So, basically, Leila ends up pregnant by Tom Byrne's character, Maximilian, who dresses up like a drag queen. And it turns out Leila's also gay. She actually was married to a young lady. And we find out why that fell apart. Sometimes Leila blames her mother rightly. Sometimes Leila doesn't blame her mother rightly. Her mother is a bit too harsh on Leila sometimes. And that's a great dynamic. I can't really get too far into those spoilers because it would require me to show scenes for the movie, and it would also take a massive detour. But the acting between the actresses who play Leila and Shireen, great. Fucking great. Absolutely great shit. They had tremendous chemistry. So, in this, after finding out she's pregnant, she reflects on this stuff, and also she's dealing with the pregnancy stuff. Maximilian means well. I mean, even if like, okay, let's make this work. I want to be there for the kid. I want to do all this while doing his drag act and stuff like that. It's funny, and I almost wish I would have leaned a little bit more into that, but also the fact that the family is really, really tightly woven together. There's like 9 siblings, I believe, if I remember right. And there's other times where, it bounces to the 80s, and we see how the mother had to pick up the pieces after the dad, who's a doctor. They had immigrated over to the U.S., and he had heart issues, and he kept having heart issues, and he couldn't practice anymore, and she had to get her GED and work hard. And the part where they went to Shireen and told her story Holy shit! No, not many people would get through that. And I will explain. But Layla was, she snuck stuff over, like snuck tapes over when they went to visit family um in Iran, even during the height of the Iranian American like tensions and stuff like that. And there was a part with Cyndi Lauper's "Girls Just Want to Have Fun." We actually see at the end credits a "Girls Just Want to Have Fun" rendition with, I believe, an Iranian singer. I think, and it's great. I didn't know who the hell that is because that was great shit. But the part telling of like Shireen as a young lady, her and the father that built this family together, he was 22, she was 13. Gross. It was a marriage of convenience. She was really educated and she had to drop out of school, and Mama and June basically wanted her to get married, but then they were at a remote village, and while he was practicing, it also turned out he had 2 wives. He was banging some other woman that was there. And this was a well-told part that you have to experience. It's really, really touching. And gross, because the girl was 13. And she ends up, I believe, pregnant, has a kid, Shiraz, I believe it was the boy's name. And then she ends up pregnant again with a daughter. And this is told in the flashbacks, by the way. And this is told by Mama and June. And she tells the story, and the daughter died, stillborn. And no mother should have to experience that. And that was really gut wrenching. And the acting by the young Shireen was phenomenal. I mean, great shit. And the young Mama and June, she was great. And then there was her husband had shown up, the doctor that had banged this other woman. She lost her kid, the daughter. The other woman he banged died in child's birth. So Vahid was one of the kids. He was born by the other wife, and she's all upset that this man that she loved and that she married at such a young age. Well, he's 22, she's 13. I mean, obviously, I think by this point, it should be about 15, 16 or something like that. Whatever it is. This is my daughter's milk, and you want me? How could you ask me to do this? Well, child is innocent. I mean, and yeah, he's right in a sense. The child shouldn't suffer. It's like you shouldn't have banged another woman when you had a 13-year-old girl pregnant. 13, 14, whatever. Gross. But she ends up, that's part of the reason why that kid was a little bit off and felt a little ostracized from the family. And there are other family members where it seems like some are doing well, some aren't doing that well, and Vahid ends up getting married, and the mother was really, proud of him. And Leila ends up, having the kid. Basically, she goes to this like nearby maternity or this this hospital, while the dad, by the way, has gotten a new heart that isn't going to go all that well. Like, it's second rate, basically, so to speak, because they're like on the lower tier. I mean, it's what his insurance would cover. And Layla has a kid, and actually there's this funny moment where Maximilian and the brothers all show up. Oh, I'm the father, and he's all dressed up in his drag, his drag act. And the stuff with her having the kid, the mother is there and gets reflections of like what happened with her. And it's telling her, I need to scream as loud as possible. I'll help you push. I'll help. Because the nurse there said that Layla's hips were too narrow, and that's exactly what the nurse said to Shireen. And that's what made her flat. That was great detail, by the way. I do want to say it's subtle, but it's great detail. Kid is successfully born, everything, and she's talking to the mother. And, talking to her mother. Mother's like, I'm so sorry, I love you. And then, boom, it literally ends. And then goes to the Cyndi Lauper performance. Literally just ends like, boom, hard cut, like, ow. I mean, okay, that just snap our spine with that goddamn cut. It's a very abrupt ending. But I do want to say, showing how hard Shireen had to work to pick up the pieces. After her husband had that. And carrying all that baggage of the fact that one of the kids was born from, a mistress or second wife of her husband. Yeah, it shows that some sadness can weigh you down and everything, and you can't let it beat you. But it's very beautifully done. The Persian version is fantastic. It's great. Not that the director writer will watch this. I don't think anybody would be watching it at this point. I'm just talking to myself. But yeah, it gets an A+. It's really well done. It's really fucking well done. I encourage people to check it out. If you don't catch it in theaters, at least catch it on streaming, because it is worth it. So yeah, A+. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Ritlin. I'll see you soon.